Hi guys, it's Amy from Little Farm Quilts. Oh, it is Sunday, March 15th. Why I had to just look at my calendar about that. Um, I don't know because I should know what date it is. But today is Sunday, March 15th. I hope you're having a great Sunday. It's been kind of a weird Sunday here, weird weekend as a whole. So I'm going to do a life update first. I know some other floss tubers are saying that people don't like the life updates. I think that's part of being in community, and considering I'm not getting together with any local stitchers, um, that's a big deal to me. I think that's part of it. Part of you guys getting to know me and what I struggle with, maybe things that you struggle with, and how we become a good community. So um, I am going to do a life update. Thank you. If you are new to my channel, thanks for joining me. I appreciate it. If you're returning, thank you too, because without you guys, I wouldn't still be doing it. If I ever put up a video and it doesn't get many views, I will probably stop doing my floss tubes, but part of me enjoys them. I will be honest though, I had decided that this week I was not going to do a floss tube. And I guess this goes along with the life update. Um, If you've been following along for any period of time, you know that I'm a nurse. I work in the healthcare system. Specifically, I work in home care. As you can imagine, with the unfolding of recent events, this week has been a week. I think a week in healthcare is a week anyway, because healthcare is not for the faint of heart. Working in healthcare is not for the faint of heart. I think that, and these are just my personal opinions, and if you have your opinions, please, you're welcome to express them below. No politics, please, because I'm not going to bring them up here politically anyway. My personal opinion that the nursing shortage has not helped the healthcare system, and the aging of the baby boomers. I think the two things have converged together and caused healthcare to be quite challenging at times. That being said, then you add something like, and I'm not even going to say it, like the recent events, and that makes an already challenging career choice more challenging. You will most likely hear my phone go off during this video. Just ignore it. I'm sorry. I can't turn it off right now for a number of reasons, which nobody cares about. So anyway, I decided today to come on and do a floss tube because A, I have things to show you. I actually didn't think I was going to have anything to show this week because with the busyness of work, I have not had a ton of time to be stitching or to be in my sewing room, nor have I felt like doing any of that by the time when I get home. My brain's fried. I don't feel like counting stitches on linen. I just wasn't feeling it. My mojo had gone. I think just from being brain tired. But then, you know, my husband said something to me this morning. We were watching church from home. Our church has decided not to hold services on their campus right now. I live in upstate New York. If you have followed along, you know that already. Most of the surrounding schools are closing. Colleges are closing. Our church decided to, because they already have an online streaming ability, to go strictly to that for at least the next couple of weeks at the recommendations of the CDC and the New York State Department of Health. So we watch church from home, which we do on occasion anyway. You know, Sunday tends to be a day that we don't have to race around if we don't want to. So at times we watch. But after church, he looked at me and asked me if I was doing a floss tube this weekend, and I said no, I really hadn't planned on it. I was taking a week off, didn't feel like I had much to show, and he said, well, it might be a good idea if you do one, because for those that watch you, this may be a highlight for them this week, because he and I both kind of feel like this will get worse. This is like all things in life, it'll get worse before it gets better. And I know for a lot of people this is extremely stressful time, and a time that brings a ton of anxiety into play. I am not an anxious person by nature, nor am I an alarmist. I'm not a prepper. I'm I'm just not any of those things. I kind of take life as it comes, and I just kind of deal with it as it comes. I'm not really alarmist, but I do understand why people are getting alarmed, and I am trying to have patience for that, I guess. It's kind of funny because, not funny, haha. I don't even know if I told you guys. My husband and I turned in all of our cable boxes last week because we hadn't watched the news. Really, we haven't watched the news in a couple of years. We get all the information that we need by going online and searching for it. We were paying a lot of money for something that we don't use, and you can imagine by the amount of stitching I get done, I'm not watching a whole heck of a lot of TV. So, although, I'll get to that in a second. It was funny that we turned in our cable boxes just before this whole coronavirus thing blew up. And I think that was probably a good thing, because I do think that in an effort to be prepared, because I manage nurses, I probably would have been tied to the news, I think, more than normally so, and that's not a healthy thing either, to sit and just watch the news. I remember when 9/11 happened, that's all we did was sit and watch the news, and eventually we were like, we have to not do this. So I think it was a good thing. We have watched a couple press conferences, and of course, with me and my work, I am getting briefings pretty regularly. Sorry, my phone's going off. I have a mom that's immunocompromised, so I'm trying to guide her, because she doesn't live here, on what she should and should not do. You know, I'm just being prudent, but I'm not an alarmist by nature. So it's been kind of weird for us. And my husband kind of thought that it might be good for me to come on and do a floss tube, considering the week was as difficult as it was, and doesn't seem like it's going to get any better this week. But he also thought, you have stuff to share, so why not share? So I'm gonna. Last time I was on, I think we talked a lot about Nashville Market. I have to tell you, this was my first year with any awareness of Market. I find it so funny because I've been sewing for a long time and doing quilts for a long time, and then this cross stitch thing came back in my life almost a year ago exactly from right now. And it has just ballooned and blossomed and given me a whole new avenue of things, which sometimes I think wasn't a good thing, but sometimes I think it was. So it is what it is. I put some new things up in my Etsy shop that are cross stitch related, not just quilt related stuff. So it's good. It's really good. But Market, I gotta tell you, I wanted to buy all the things. All the things. All the things. Like, I don't know that there was one pattern that I really didn't like. There were lots that I probably won't, not lots. There's a few that I probably won't stitch just because they're not me, they're not my style. But I have to tell you, like, I could count them on one hand, and it was less than 4. So that says a lot. That says a lot. I did pre-order. I guess we're going to go to haul first, because I'm talking about Market. I did pre-order 3, 4. I've gotten 3 in. I'm waiting for the 4th one. 5. I've gotten 3 in. I'm waiting for 2. See, the number's going to keep going up. And I have started a wish list for the ones that I have not ordered yet that I want to order. So, yeah, that's that. And it's been kind of a crazy stitching week between placing. I had pre-ordered the 3 before Market even started. And then once I started seeing Market, like the Instagram, I was following along at everybody at Market that was posting Instagram stories and yada, yada, yada. And I ordered a couple more things, and I had pre-ordered the cookbook from Teresa Kogut that was available at Market. And so that's the 5th thing that I'm waiting for. So I ordered, the 2 things I'm waiting for are the Celebrate book by Teresa Kogut and the cookbook that I pre-ordered from her. It's not just her, it's got charts in from other people, from what I understand, along with recipes. But I was very interested in that. So those I'm waiting to come in. So I guess we're not going to talk about haul just yet. let's talk about whips. Sorry, I'm scattered today, guys. I hadn't really mentally prepared to do a floss tube until my husband had said something, and now I'm fresh out of the shower and dressed, and I thought, well, let's get it done now so that I can sit down here and watch it upload, and I can get some sewing done because I got stuff to talk about there too. I really only have 2 whips that I worked on in any sort of bigger this week. I kind of hit a wall on the winter stitching thing. That being said, I had finished a lot of things in what I had left in my whip basket, and I think I only had, when I was thinking this, 10 whips, I believe. 2 of them are long-term projects. One of them you're going to see today. Actually, 3 of them are long-term projects. They'll take me years to finish, and the rest are all kind of smalls to medium to easy stitches. But everything I had left was winter related, and I gotta tell you, we're into March, middle of March. I'm done with winter. I'm done with winter, and I found that stitching winter was making me, I just wasn't into it. I don't want to say angry because it didn't make me angry, but it certainly didn't, I just didn't feel like stitching. So I came down here to my sewing area. I decided to start kitting up for Mania, what I thought was going to be Mania, and I found a pattern that I had that I really wanted to start. And so I did a new start, and I've got a couple more spring-ish kind of stitches kitted up, ready to go. And I have to tell you, I may just start them. Because honestly, I don't think I'm going to go back to the winter stitching right now. They can all sit there and time out for a little bit. And I've got Snow Village. I'll just keep putting the patterns in that bag. But I want to move on to spring. I want to move on to some of the patriotic things. Yeah. I don't really decorate for Easter per se, but I do decorate for spring. So I wanted to do that. And as much as possible, I'm going to stitch out of my stash. I was part of the Ada Club at Fat Quarter Shop. I discontinued it because I have a lot of Ada here, and I didn't want to just keep stockpiling Ada for no good reason. I do have it here, and this first piece that I'm going to show you is on some Ada from that club. So if you're an Ada girl, which I kind of am, my ideal is either 28 count Monaco or 14 count Ada. That's my jam. Anything outside of that, I have to work harder at. It takes me longer to stitch, and I don't mind doing it. But it's not for a speed stitch and something for quick results. That's not where I'm going to go. I'm going to go either 28 count Ada or 28 count Monaco because I like stiffer in the handhold, or 14 count Ada. So I had this pattern in my stash, and this should be no surprise to any of you who've been following along since I'm a honeybee keeper. This is Birds and the Bees by Heart and Hand. And I did not use called for colors because, well, let's show you. This is how far I've gotten. So I've gotten all the words done. Let's hold it back here. And most of the hive in. And see my bee needle minder that my daughter gave to me. See, isn't that cute? Let's see if I can get this to the camera. See that bee? Isn't she cute? Nice honeybee needle minder. I don't normally use needle minders, but I decided I'm going to start using them because I'm putting them in my Etsy shop. And so I think they're just cute, and they add some bling to the cross stitch. So this is stitched on 14 count Ada. It's witch out. It is, I believe, Venetian stone. And because I chose this darker color, that's probably more true to color right there. This darker color, the floss colors were not going to work out so well. So I slimmed this down, and I will tell you my color conversions when I complete it. I haven't done them all yet, but I can tell you what I've used so far because I put them in here. So far I've only got 3 colors that I'm using. I have Classic Colorworks Honeycomb that I'm using for the hive, and I'm using Black Coffee for all of the words. So in the pattern, the words, some of the words are in a different color. I did them all in the same color. and all in black coffee. And then I'm using the honeycomb for the hive. And I forget what it calls for. Let me see. See if I can figure it out. It's Weeks Dye Works Gold is what it called for, or DMC 680. I'm using honeycomb because I just like how I did a toss floss and I just liked how the color looked against this fabric. And I've left the piece whole because I like a larger piece to hang on to. So I'll probably fit another piece on there. But this is what my happy stitching this week. And I haven't had, like I said, a ton of stitch time. But I've gotten that done. And I'm quite happy with it. I will probably stitch on it today, as a matter of fact. So that's the one whip I worked on. The other whip that I worked a little bit on, not a ton, was my Leap Day Start, my Long Dog Sampler Cardinal Points. And this is the pattern right here. I did my own kind of DMC conversion on this. And I think it's pretty close. Somebody contacted me through Instagram and asked for my DMC conversion, so I sent her a picture of, I wrote the DMCs next to the colors on the back, and said feel free to modify to your liking, and so I hope she enjoys that. I'm not really a sampler girl, but I have to tell you there's a sampler on my wish list from Market, and I'm really enjoying this one, although I haven't gotten super far. This one I'm stitching on 36 count Edinburgh Linton in the colorway Winter Moon. And like I said, I haven't gotten very far. Like I think I might have put in, well, I might have put in 100 stitches. But that's where I am. I'm right up in this corner. And so far it's working up quite nicely. I have had to put it in a hoop because like I said, when I get anything outside of 28 count Aida, or 28 count Monaco, I keep saying that, and 14 count Aida, I have to work really hard at. And I just didn't feel like working hard this week, I already showed you last week I had done release 3 of Bloomtopia cross stitch. I just printed out, week 4 is released and up on the website, so I've just printed that out. So that and the birds and the bees is probably what I'll be working on later today. I have sewing to do today that I want to get done. So, actually I should keep this over here. So, no finishes this week. I just didn't have the time or the gumption this week to finish anything. I had a lot of FFOs last week. I still have things to FFO here, and when I get time I will. I did have a quilt finish, which I'm happy to show you. I did an Out of This World block along with Pat Sloan last year. I did finally get the binding on, and I think I'll just show you like half of it. I did it with the called for fabric. I actually got the kit from Fat Quarter Shop, and this is a pretty decent sized quilt. I don't know how much of it you can actually see, but I quilted it with a Stars Pantograph, which you can probably catch more of on the backing. I did edge-to-edge quilting on that, and so that is done. So I have a quilt finish that I crossed off my whip list for quilts, which I gotta tell you, my whip count for the quilts is going down. The whip count for the cross stitches is going up a little bit. I think because I put winter in a timeout. Do you need to come in? Hubby's coming in. Okay, thank you. And that's all I've been working on this week. One of my projects has been, over the last few weeks, is to organize my floss. I feel like what was happening in my project bags was a load up of floss and I had duplicates everywhere. And I'm just going to use the cardinal points as a for instance. So cardinal points takes 24 different colors of floss. And so I had 24 skeins of floss in this bag. So that was 24 skeins of floss that was in the bag, out of sight of me, that I couldn't look to see if I had stuff for another project. And you know, sometimes you buy a skein and you may be stitched 10 stitches out of that skein. So I made a floss card. It's nothing fancy. It's just comic book board with holes in it. And I put thread on here so that I could stitch. Now, will I have to put more thread in there? Probably. Not anytime soon because I'm not stitching super fast on it. And then I put the flosses back in my stock. What I did with my stock is I had everything on bobbins, and I know there's lots of people that keep them on bobbins, and it's totally good, and it works for them. The bobbin thing was not working for me. I really do like things out where I can see them. So you see over my shoulder over here, all my my fabrics that I like to work with are sitting right here. They're out where I can see them. They're not put away. If you could see, well, look at the sewing room tour. You know that most of my fabrics are twined on comic book boards, and they stand up like books and shelves so that I can see them, and they're actually facing me as I sit here at my computer. Behind the computer is my design wall, which I've turned you guys to see before. I'm going to turn you guys to see it again today. So I've been on a mission over the last few weeks to get my floss off those bobbins and onto something that's better for me. So I have a pegboard up here that I have all of my fancy floss kind of hung by color, and you know how fancy floss comes on the cards. The Classic Color Works, the Weeks Dye Works, and the Gentle Arts all come on cards. And I like that idea. This morning I finally finished getting all of my floss off the bobbins and onto cards. And I actually have a lot of floss. So I have 2 huge rings of floss. And yes, it's all wrinkly because it's been on bobbins. And then some of it's not, and it hangs nicely. You can see the ones that weren't, they hang nicely. My mom has said that you can iron the floss if you want it to straighten out. I don't really care. These are just going to go hanging up on my pegboard so I can see what I have at a glance. So I have finished that, and now I can easily see what I have, what I need to get for any projects that I'm going to bring into DMC. I am basically a DMC girl. I am in the Floss Club at Fat Quarter Shop for Classic Color Works, and I believe the new one that I just signed up for is a Weeks Dye Works one, so I'll start getting those. But I do like working with DMC as well, and it's economical. So I kind of like, for projects like Cardinal Points where it takes 24 flosses, I convert that to DMC. I'm not spending that much money on fancy floss if I don't have most of it in my stockpile already, which I did not. So maybe down the road I will have a stock of fancy floss enough where I could come up with enough of them to do that with fancy floss, but I couldn't this time, so I didn't. And so I converted it to DMC, did the best I could. I think it'll look great. I think it'll look fine. Right. So I've gotten that done, which is a huge thing off my mind to have that done, because now I can see what I have, I can see what I need, and it'll be easier for me to, because what I was doing was I couldn't see what I already had because most of it was in project bags, and I would just reorder everything, and now I've got like 4 and 5 skeins of some colors, and that's just overkill, and it's nuts. So anyway, that was my project. My plan this week is to keep stitching what I feel like stitching. That's kind of where we're at. My work is too stressful right now for me to follow some sort of stitching program or to stitch certain things on certain days. Who knows? I get a high off starting new ones hi, and listen to me. I get really happy about starting new ones and starting new projects, both in quilting and in stitching. I'm not starting any more quilting projects right now because I have several big ones in the works. And I have somebody very dear to me having a baby soon, and I'm going to make her a baby quilt. So I'm not going to start any more quilt projects other than that baby quilt. But I can start cross-stitch projects, and I can start small ones, and I can research, more of the Nashville things, and order fabric, and see what flosses I have, order what I don't have, and anyway. So I have a crate down here that I have some kitted up starts. The intent was for those to go towards Mania, but if I feel like starting them this week, I'm just going to start them. I'm just going to stitch all the things that make me happy, because that's what my stitching's for. It's for my mental health. It's to make me happy, both sewing and cross-stitching. Mental health, to keep me happy, and it's my stress relief. So that's my plan. My sewing plan is I need to make more project bags. That would be the first thing. So I've started gathering 2.5-inch squares. I think, for those of you that are fabric people, I think this is a Bonnie Camille line. I don't know. So when I have leftovers from a quilt, I cut it up into 2.5-inch squares and I put it in this big jar. I pulled out ones that are from the same line, and I think this is a Bonnie Camille, to make project bags out of. I have a bunch of batik squares left over from my trees quilt. I have a couple Shelbyville mini charm packs, and I'm going to use these to make project bags with the 2.5-inch squares. A, I need more project bags, and B, if they turn out well enough, I may put some in my Etsy shop, although there are a ton of people out there that make awesome project bags. I need some for myself, and the fact that I have the ability to make them, and I've made them in the past for myself, I can't really justify buying them when I can make them. So those are my sewing plans. My other sewing plan, as you know, if you've been following along, is I follow along with the Bonnie Hunter Mystery Quilt every year. Sorry, my throat was getting dry. The Bonnie Hunter Mystery Quilt this year was Frolic, and I'm going to turn you so you can see my design wall. So just bear with me for a minute. See the rest of the room, and there's my design wall. I don't know if I can back you up or not. I will a little bit. I have the entire quilt up on my wall. So let's move slowly back in, not to make anything sick. And let's get you turned back around. We'll go this way. Oh, you're gonna see my hand. Here we are. Okay, did you see that? That's Frolic. It's up on my wall. My goal today is to get that top together. There are a couple rows of half square triangles that are to border that quilt. I'm hoping to get the top together. If I can get the triangle, because once this main part of the top's together, I have to trim it because it's set on point, and then I have to stay stitch all the edge, and then I can apply the triangle border. Half square triangle border. I don't think I'll get that far today. Honestly, I have laundry to finish, and we have to run to the store and get a few things, food items for our house, hopefully. So I don't know, but if I can get the main part of the top together today, I would be super happy. And that is mainly what I'm working on today, sewing wise. That's my plan. My plan was to have it all up on the wall before I hit Saturday. And then yesterday I was going to spend half the day and get the top together. That plan didn't happen. My plans are almost always too ambitious based on what's going on in life. So, yeah. But I'm happy with what I got done yesterday. I'm hoping that I can get some of it done, some of this top put together today. I don't usually pin a ton when I sew, and I think on this top I am going to pin to make sure things line up nicely, because I'm looking at it as I'm talking to you, and if things don't line up, it's really going to look like a mess pretty quickly. Um, so I think I will use more pins, make sure things line up okay, and yeah, and that's my plan today, and with some stitching later. It's nice here today. The sun's out. It's going to be cold, so I will have to go out and take care of my ducks, but it's sunny, but I don't like being out in the cold, and I'm over winter, as you got from my stitching thing. So I'm going to work with all the pretty things today, and that's that. So I guess now is time for haul. I do not have a ton of haul this week based on some previous weeks of mine. But as I continue to look at the market releases and decide to buy more, I may have more. I did get my floss fix. Oh wait, please hold please. I did get more than I thought. Hold on. Alright. I got my floss fix from Fat Quarter Shop. Sorry. Minor delay. I got my floss fix from Fat Quarter Shop. This is March. It is greens. It's frozen margarita, frog legs, fancy green Nancy, jolly holly, four-leaf clover, and mossy. And this is the color card for those. I am also not going to be putting links down below. I know that I'm not hugely good about putting links down there to begin with, but I'm definitely not doing it today. Because I have so much on my plate today that I would love to get done. I have some work things that I'm trying to manage right now. And I just won't have time for the links. But Google Fat Quarter Shop, Floss Fix. It'll come up. And I want to show you the colors. They're all classic Colorworks. And they're pretty. Look at those. That's probably really true to color right there. Guess it's funny how gray my hair looks when you put color in front of it, huh? I don't actually think it looks that green normally. Maybe it does. Maybe I'm just in denial. I don't know. I should have just clipped these bangs back because they're driving me a little nuts. But anyway, those are the greens. They're pretty. I like them, and I had them hanging up on my wall. I just like hanging flosses up on the wall. They're just pretty. I just like it. It makes me happy. And when you twist them, you know, it's just pretty. Pretty presentation. They twist them up like this, and they coil them in the bag so that this is facing out, and it's just such a pretty presentation that I can't even stand it. I love Fat Quarter Shop. I love all the Etsy shops I find too, and I have one local LNS that I just found, and they're very helpful as well. I mean, the stitching community in general, whether it be sewing, cross stitching, any fiberworks things, people are generally very nice and very helpful, and yeah, it's nice. It's really nice. I was trying to keep up with Common Threaded Stitcher on Instagram, the hashtag. I have not been able to keep up with that. I was trying to put myself out there. Anyway, I'll talk to you about that more later, but let's get through haul. I want to show you, I did get Prim Village in. I don't believe I had gotten it in prior to last flosstube. I got Prim Village in. This is a pattern by Lori Holt, published by It's So Emma at the Fat Quarter Shop. Surprise. And it came with this lovely charm. And I think what I'm going to do, I really like the pattern. However, I think I might either do a row of 4 houses with these quilt blocks underneath, or I may do 4 this way and then do a frame. I'm not going to do the whole thing, but I do think I'm going to pick 4 of the house colors and maybe put them in a square or do a row and figure out how to finish that. Yeah, I don't know. I think stitched on 14 count Ada. That can't be right. Oh, that's a small, sorry. 14 count Ada, it's 10.5 inches by 10.625 inches. I did get some, oh, I lied. I got 25 count Lugana, but I got that for something else. Not for this. So I may do this on 14 count Ada. A single house is 2 3/4 by 4.5 inches. So if you do it in a block, it'd be like 9 by 5.5. That might work out really well. Really, really well. So we'll have to see what I feel like doing. But I like the thought of having 4 rows in a square, or 4 houses in a square, or 4 houses in a row. But I'm not doing the whole thing. Yeah, it'd probably be a super easy stitch, but I'm not going to do the whole thing. And, you know, I may change my mind by the time I walk upstairs. So you'll just have to stay tuned and see what I do. I did buy all the DMC for it. And I will use this as like a zipper pull if I put it in a project bag. But that's that. I did get some 25 Lugana. This is, I'm sorry, 28 count mushroom Lugana. I got that in from 123 Stitch along with a bunch of DMCs that I'm not going to show you. The DMCs were for Prim Village. But I got this 28 count mushroom Lugana for the spring ABCs, which I'm going to convert to my own colors because this is not really my color palette. And I don't know I like the blue house. I don't know exactly what colors I'm going to use, but I am thinking about today doing kind of a floss toss. And if I find flosses I like, this might be a new start for me today. I also have the winter ABCs, which I think they will line up side by side on this piece of fabric because this is 18 by 27. They may line up side by side on this fabric. And then I'd like to do all of them and have them interchangeable upstairs. So then I'll just get another piece of fabric and do the others as well. But this may be a new start for me today. Either that or Prim Village. But I really like the thought of doing this. And I'll just have to see if I can pull some colors off my wall. I'd like to do it in fancy floss. So we'll see. And I got some nice greens and things, so let's see if I have some nice, oh, I have a bright blue over there too. I think I will probably put that together. I'll let you know. The other thing I got was my market. So I got Spring Has Sprung by Plum Street Samplers. I like this. And I believe I bought the winter one at my LNS, and I think I've showed you guys that already. But that's some pretty spring stitching. I'm not sure, I might change the flower colors. I'm not really huge into pink. Not really huge into purple, so I'm not quite sure what I would change them to, but I might pick a brighter kind of pink. But, you know, you're not supposed to touch your face, right? I touched my face. It's okay, it's just me and Matt here. I also got Hands On Design Humble Honey. Shocker. Anything bee related, I love. Absolutely love. My husband and I are passionate about our honeybee keeping. We have honeybee people that we know that have stores locally. We believe in the power of having unpasteurized honey in your diet. So anything honeybee related is cool. This could stay up in my house year round on my quilt shelf if I made it into a little pillow like that. I may go ahead and today order the pin mini that goes with it. I believe the pin mini is from Just Another Button Company. And the twill tag, which she has on here, is from Lady Dot Creates. So I think I may be placing an order for those today. Matter of fact, I'm going to put this on my mouse pad because this is the first one that I can envision actually making into a pillow like that with the pin minis. I'm not big into using the pin minis, but I really, really like this one. Really, really like this one. And I have thought about joining, I think Just Another Button Company has a club, and I was thinking about joining that anyway. But I'm going to order this, I think. I really, truly love anything bee related. Matter of fact, I should bring it down for the next floss tube. My niece did a beautiful honeybee painting for us for Christmas one year. It's hanging on our wall where we can see it prominently. It's just a big deal for us. I mean, it's small pleasures in life, but it's a big deal. And if you follow around long enough, I keep saying that. You know, we had a very rough year with the beekeeping last year because of our jobs. But this year we're game on. We checked on the honey, or the bees, the last warm up, and they were all flying. The hives are super big, super loud, so there's lots of bees in there. And hopefully when we come out of this cold snap and spring actually starts coming and we get good temps to work them, we will do splits right out of the gate this year, walk away splits just like we did last year, and we'll have 4 hives instead of 2. So we are looking forward to that. But anyway, I like hands-on design anyway. She's one of my favorites, and I love working on chalkboard black. I don't know what she stitched. Oh, Slate Fabrics by Stephanie, 32 count. I do these on chalkboard black Ada, so it'll be bigger. It is 65 by 46. So not huge. Still filling my quilt shelf. But I'll do this on chalkboard Ada, and it'll be a really quick stitch. And yeah, I can't wait. I can't wait. It's like you want to stitch all the things, right? I want to start these things. The other one I got, I pre-ordered, was the Hands-On Design Memorial Day. So I love patriotic stitching. I've just recently ordered a Rovaris chart as well, for some patriotic stitching. I have some patriotic, I forget which one I showed you guys last week. I have another one here. I don't usually publicize this, but I am a veteran, and I do believe in the power of our country, and I am very patriotic, and although things may not always go as I had planned them at times, or had wished they had gone, I believe in our country, and so, in a big way. And my daughter serves, my son-in-law serves. It's a big deal to me. My father was a vet. It's a big part of who I am now, serving our country. So, and why I now serve as a nurse. So, I got this for that reason. I just love the thought of flag quilts hanging from a line, which I know these aren't flag quilts necessarily, but I just love the thought of putting up a clothesline just to hang flags on. And this, according to her, this is a reproduction from an artist. So, I haven't read it all yet, but I'm looking forward to stitching this. I need to look through my stash to see. She stitched it, I believe. I should look. I believe she stitched it with Sulky. Hold on. And I'll see. These bags are so tight that I don't know how these people stuffed them when they were getting them ready to go. I believe they're stitched in Sulky. 1 strand of Sulky, 12 weight. I'm not there's a DMC conversion in here. I'm probably going to use the DMC conversion. I don't have any Sulkies, so I'm not going to use them, I don't think. But I'll use what I have and try to put something together. I also just bought 28 count white Monaco, and that's what it's going to go on. The last thing I got in haul, and I wish I'd kept this all together so you could see how nicely they packaged it, was I got the Stitch Quarterly from Fat Quarter Shop. Yes. So it comes in this cool canvas bag. It's a good size, especially for small charts. It wouldn't fit large charts, but even like a large project like this chart would fit in just fine. So this bag works, and I'm all about the bags. So in this, I had to put it all back in here because I had ripped it all apart because I was going to do stuff with it. In here, they sent this cross-stitch key. I think it's really cool because in the corner here, you can measure in from a corner of your fabric. Like I start in the top right-hand corner. I don't know why, that's just where I start. That's where I'm more comfortable. So you can put this on the top right-hand corner and measure, you know, 2 inches down so that you make sure to leave 2 inches. They also have cloth counters on here, so you can put it up to your cloth and figure out what cloth you're using. Sorry, my phone's going off and it's distracting. There's a reference guide on here as to, let me take this out of the plastic. They have this on their website now. I don't know if it's sold out already. I know it was exclusive to the Stitch Quarterly, and then they had it up on their website. So what they had left, they put up on the website. And I think this is something they designed. It's cloth counter. It's got a ruler, corner guide, reference guide. So for number of strands per and needle size for things. And I'm going to show you up close. So you see the holes and the markings. There's 1.5, 2 inch, and 2.5. Depending on how much fabric you want to leave in. There you go. There's a reference guide in the center there, right under the It's So Emma logo, that tells you how many strands of floss to use depending on what fabric you're stitching on. And then all around here, you can put these up to your cloth if you don't remember what count it is, and it'll tell you what count it is because the lines will match up with the holes on the cloth. I think it's cool. I've already used it. I actually put it back in the bag to show you guys because I had already been using it, and I wanted to show you guys. But this is actually sits upstairs with my cross stitching and near my cross stitch chair. The other thing that came was this nice what's in your bag, which explains everything, just like the so sampler box. But this is quarterly. I'm signed up to get them quarterly. I figured I will get them for the next year and see what it's all about. And I actually think it's pretty cool. So this came all bundled with a nice brown ribbon that I, of course, tore off. So if you can just imagine, this was all together, and it had a nice brown ribbon around it. But in my haste to see what was in here, I had to rip it apart. And I couldn't get it back together as nicely as they did. You know, they always do a great job at their, on their stuff. I can't say enough about Fat Quarter Shop, to be quite honest with you. I absolutely love them, and their customer service is awesome, and I don't get paid to say it. They don't even follow me. Yeah, I like it. So it also comes with the pattern. So there's a pattern for that cross stitch right there. And I think they actually tell you it was finished by Priscilla Blaine. I think actually somewhere on here. Oh, I thought they did. Never mind. So it came with all the DM. Here's your pattern. I can't show you the pattern because it's the pattern and it's exclusive to the box. But it came with all the DMC and the fabric. So they sent you a 12 by 12 piece of whitewash board, 14 count Ada from Fabric Flair. They sent you all the floss that you need to finish it. And if I know Fat Quarter Shop, it's way more floss than you need. Because even in their quilt kits, you always have a ton extra at the end. It's really a good value for your money. And a pin keep. So this magnetic box, it says homegrown. Well, not magnetic box, but inside there's a magnet, and they even sent you a needle. How cool is that? So that is all kitted up for me to start as one of my starts. The key is going back up with my stitch stuff. Oh, I just dropped something. I'll have to get it. But I thought that was pretty good, and I like this thing. I've seen these before, but it's one of those things where you don't buy until you figure out how nifty it is. But this would be really nifty, especially when I travel. And I don't know why I never thought of that before, to be quite honest with you. But that, I think, is all of my haul. Not that I have a ton, but it's enough. I don't know what else to say. Everybody's trying to stay calm. Yeah, I don't really want to speak to the state of affairs right now, other than to say, everybody just try to stay calm, wash your hands, don't touch your face. But those are recommendations that the medical field has been giving out for years to help prevent the spread of any virus, not just this one. So wash your hands, don't touch your face. And if nothing else, the quarantine gives people more time to stitch and sew, I guess. So that's good. I've seen lots of memes on Facebook about stitchers and the quarantine, and if you have to work from home, you know, things like that. You cut out commute time so you actually have more room, more time to stitch. Yeah. I'm going to sew this Sunday, and we're going to try to take a trip to the store to get some food and otherwise relax and do some of the stuff I love. So take time today to do the things that you love, and have a great week, and hopefully I'll see you next weekend. Thanks for watching. Bye. Hi, it's me again. I'm going to splice this in at the end. I totally forgot to tell you. Caroline from Off the Grid Needle Arts is hosting a Stitch North retreat in Toronto, Canada, which is not that far from me. I hemmed and hawed about being part of this Stitch retreat because I really wanted to go. Anyway, retreat registrations opened. I did not get to it that night, had not decided whether I was going to go that night, and was for sure that all the spots had been filled. Not so. So Friday morning, I signed up for my spot. I'm going to Stitch North Stitch Retreat near Toronto, Canada. I forget the name of the town that it's actually in, but it's near Toronto. I'm only like a 3.5-hour drive from there, so I'm driving. I booked my hotel, and I'm going all by myself, which is totally outside of my box, but I'm going to do it, and I'm excited. And as far as I know, there are still openings. So on Facebook, there is a page called Stitch North. If you are interested in going this retreat, request to be part of that group, and you will get all the information that you need. Okay? Thanks. Sorry, I'm tacking this to the end. Bye.